Hello, thank you for joining Alaska Resource Education as we do a deep dive into economics of Alaska and specifically looking at the permanent fund. So we have 3 lessons in this unit, and so each of these videos will take you through one lesson at a time so you can learn about how to teach them in your classroom. And then we also have 2 supplementary videos that I will show you that you can share with your students. So we'll go ahead and get started. So this curriculum was in partnership with the Alaska Permanent Fund Corporation, and we developed it so that you would have more information and the tools you need to teach about economics in your classroom. If you are interested, we have, if you are interested, we have a kit that you can access. So after this video, you can email us at info, I-N-F-O, at akresource, resource.org. So info at akresource.org, and we can send you one of these kits. And the kit comes with a teacher workbook that has each of the lessons in it, as well as questions to ask from the videos if you're showing those. It also has all of the worksheets that you need, and then the cards and the different hands-on manipulatives that you would need to teach the lessons. So again, feel free after you've watched this video series to email us if you would like to have a copy of that kit. The first lesson that we are going to cover today is called Create a State. And this lesson is all about learning about what it takes to run a state. Okay, so we typically start with this question to the students: what does it take, and get them brainstorming what things you actually need to run a state. They may have some ideas about what it takes to run a business, but the idea of running a whole entire state might be a little bit foreign to them. One of the main things that they will hopefully come up with is money. It takes money to run a state. It takes money to pay for all the things that we need as a state. And so then the next big question is, where does that money come from? And the answer for Alaska is our natural resources. So this first game helps them take those natural resources and understand how we as a state use them to make the money that we need to run our state. And we use that money for all kinds of things. So this is a graphic from the Alaska operating budget from a couple of years ago, but it's the best graphic that we could find out there showing the different portions of our budget and how much is going to that. So the bigger the box, the more money going there, and then it gets smaller as there's less and less money needed for those different parts of our budget. And this is the video link, and I will share that more with you later about what you can show your students after they play the game. Let's switch back to this. So once you get your kit and open it, for the Create a State game, you will need the cards that have the different resources on them. So fish, oil, and minerals. And each of these cards have the icon of what the resource is on the front, and then on the back, they have different values associated with how much money you make from that resource. So different tonnage of fish gives you different money. Same with the oil, it's in barrels. So different amounts of barrels of oil will give you different dollar amounts. And then minerals as well. So we have different mineral resources, copper and silver, and gold, and different mineral resources are worth different amounts of money. Okay, and these are 3 of the main industries that help support our state operating budget. And so that's what they're going to play with for this game. So what we're going to have you do in the game is you would pass out to each group. So you're going to put your students in groups of 3 or 4, depending on how big your class is. And each group of students is their own state, and they're trying to operate as a state. So each group gets 3 fish resources, they get 3 mineral resource cards, and they get 5 oil cards. Okay, and this just helps show that oil is a bigger part of our budget than fish or minerals. Okay, so in the first round, they are going to look at all their cards and see how much money they have. Okay, so as a state, they now have this much money through their resources. So in the first year, you are going to come up with an operating budget for them of how much they need to pay the government. So in the first year, you may want them to pay something like $80,000. Okay, so they're going to decide how they want to pay their $80,000. You're the government, you do not give change. If they don't have exact change, that's too bad for them. You're going to take extra money and you'll find something to do with it. Okay, so if they want to pay 80,000, I might want 50,000 from here maybe, and 30,000 from here, let's say. So they're going to hand this to you and pay their government their 80,000. Okay, and then that money goes away. You'll keep that in a discard pile. Then once every state has paid, you are going to draw from the resource generation card stack. Okay, and each community, each state is going to get their own something that happens to them. Okay, so if this was a state, they got an advanced exploration mining project, got its permit denied, discard 1 mineral card. Okay, so they were unable to get their permits to continue operating. Now they have to discard. So they can pick the 10,000 or the 20,000. They're probably going to pick the 20,000. They'll hand that to you and discard, and they are done for that round. Okay, another group might get a different card. Let's see here. Local community is worried about commercial fishing hurting their local fishing. Discard 1 fish card. Tax credits were given to oil companies to explore. Draw an oil card. Large deposit of rare earth minerals are discovered in your state, leading to increased activity. Draw a mineral card. And then there's some no action. So commercial fishing is business as usual, no action. Okay, so each state is going to have something different happen to them, and they will draw or discard. And once every state has done that, then that round is over, that year is over, and you'll start into the next year. So for the next year, we'll have you up the budget. Okay, so you can say real things that have happened in your community. Maybe there was a big earthquake and there's a lot of damage to the roads, or there was a lot of snow that year and you needed more snow plows, different things that have actually happened that the kids might relate to, and up your budget. So this year, maybe it's $100,000. So, okay, I need $100,000 as the government. They're going to go back to their cards and see if they can come up with $100,000. Okay, this is where the whining begins, but it's okay. So, oh, I'm sorry. One last thing I forgot. If each group still has 2 or more fish cards, then they get an extra fish card. Okay, and that is because fish, unlike minerals or oil, is a renewable resource. Okay, but if, say, they had spent some of their fish and they had to discard some fish and they're only down to 1 fish card, then they would not get that. And at any point in the game, if they do not have 2 or more fish cards, they do not get that extra fish card each round. Okay, so I've got 100,000. So here's 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so here's my 100. So I'm going to pay that. All of your groups are going to pay. And then you're going to draw another resource generation card. Oil company in your state discovered a new oil reservoir. Draw 1 oil. So you're going to pass out what they need. Do that for all of your communities. Again, at the very end, anyone who has 2 or more fish, renewable resource, they get an extra. And then you're done with that round. Then I would up the budget again, because our budgets never seem to get smaller. They only seem to grow. And the goal ultimately after, say, 3 to 4 rounds, maybe a little bit longer depending on how much class time you have, is to bankrupt a handful of the teams. Okay, so if you said 120,000 this round, I've got, let's see here, I've got 30, 50, 60, 70, 70, 80, 90. So I'm going to be bankrupt, right? So eventually that is your goal. And the reason that we want to bankrupt the communities is because we want them to lead into the next lesson, which is if we just spend all of our resources our state is not going to last very long, and we need a better way to manage the money that is coming from our resources. So at this point, we would have you show the students the first of the videos, which this is what it looks like. I won't make you watch it in this video. You can watch it on your own, but it is a great little short video that explains how this actually works for Alaska and with the fund. And then in your manual, your teacher manual here, it actually has you stop the video at certain portions of the video and ask some questions to make sure the kids are staying engaged and listening. Candy's always a great prize to keep them engaged. So that is the first of the 3 series lesson unit, and that is Create a State. So again, stay tuned for the other 2 lessons. Thanks.